Hey guys, it's Jason here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the second part of my Arrma Mojave, unboxing, review, first impressions video. What can I say so far? I've had this out a few times now and it has been an absolute blast. I have not broken anything. I did have one of my tires go flying off, as you're going to see in part of the running video. I had a few of the screws back off in here. So unfortunately now I'm going to remove those screws and just try to find something maybe with a little bit, a slightly larger screw or something that's longer that I can kind of get into the plastic more, because that's what kind of let go. And I also noticed online, and I've seen it now quite a bit of places, where people use kind of like foam blocks or little foam, almost like little toy kind of foam balls in the front bumper and in the body mounts, just to kind of protect them, because I guess they've been known to break. But what can I say? A fantastic platform. Anybody that owns any Arrmas, whether you own the Notorious, the Creighton, anything, you know what you're getting out of the box. And now a lot happened in the last couple of days since I made the first video. Arrma released the Extreme Basher Edition Creighton. The cool thing about that truck is, yeah, you can buy it as a roller and obviously get a Creighton. But they're selling parts for pretty much all their vehicles. So there's a chassis, the 7075 chassis that comes on that Extreme, the EXB I think it's called, you're going to be able to get for your Mojave. So I'm really kind of in a mixed up kind of place right now, because I'm not 100% sure what I wanted to do. My plans were just to work on this truck and get it a certain way, even though, guys, right off the bat, this thing out of the box is awesome. Like I mentioned in the last video, I have done nothing. I just added this like 5 minutes before I started making this video, just because I had it kicking around. So, hey, why not use it? But I have not touched the diffs, pinion. Everything is stock, and it is an absolute blast to drive. There's nothing new here in the sense of electronics. A BLX 185, so it's 150 amp ESC. It's a rebranded hobby wing. And you got the 2050 kV motor, which always does a really, really good job. There's a reason that, it's funny, people pull them out and then you always see them in other people's vehicles, because they just do a very good job. They run good, temperature wise, they're good to go if they're geared properly. So I have no complaints, and I will not be changing those anytime soon. Suspension wise is amazing. This truck has just wicked suspension. It's funny when you're bashing this thing, especially if you're jumping it, these tires, they're skinny, they're smaller tires, but they've got a ton of grip, and they were actually surprisingly they handled really, really well when I was out there. The nice thing about having, the smaller, when you get into these short course kind of wheels and tires, is the stock servo is another thing that usually I replace right away in a lot of vehicles. And with these little tires, the servo actually does fine. Not once while I was driving it did I think to myself, oh man, this servo sucks. I am a firm believer though in getting good servos, so at some point I probably will upgrade it. Most people, when they think of servos, they just think of, being able to turn your wheels. When you have a really good servo, you obviously, if you have a servo with more strength, obviously, yes, you're going to turn quicker and you have more torque. But because of that more torque, you'll also keep your wheels straighter. So when you're really mashing on it, and if you're hitting bumps, that servo is going to keep your wheels and tires going straight, which is obviously a huge plus. Going back though to the EXB, I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I had so many, I shouldn't say a ton of plans for this thing, because it's so much fun right out of the box that the idea of really messing with it and adding, upgraded aluminum components, I don't think I'm going to do on this truck. I don't feel it needs it. And I'd like to keep the weight right where it is, because right now with these stock electronics, this truck is a blast. So if you're out there and you're thinking to yourself, hey, you know what, I kind of want to buy a Mojave, but I don't know if I can, what all do I need? You know what? You don't need anything. Buy it, enjoy it. Stock radio, not a huge fan of those radios. I didn't even run this truck on it. I immediately removed it and threw in a few top of receivers so I could run it with my 7PX. But besides from that, and even that radio, guys, will get you going. But I'm assuming a lot of you people probably have aftermarket radios, so it's not that big of a deal. Also, though, on that subject, be warned that that receiver that comes in the truck is not DSM, so it's not going to work with your, I have a DX5 Pro, it would not work with this. So just be aware that if you've got, a rugged DX5 Pro, whatever, it's not going to work with the receiver that comes in the truck. It's not like the Locies. If you buy a Tenacity or something like that, they come with the better quality receiver. So that's kind of a bummer. I wish Arrma would change that. There's no reason, not even for the price of the truck. I'm not even though, yeah, it's a slightly more expensive truck. Arrma's right up there now with Losi and all the rest of the companies. There's no reason why Horizon Hobby can't give them a good radio. So guys, if you're listening, come on, let's get it together. All right, guys, one thing I had mentioned in the first video was changing up the wheels and tires. I do have a set of Proline 3.8s, the low profile version trenchers. I run them on my Traxxas Max. So what I thought I would do is just kind of, if you guys wanted to get an idea of what these would look like with 3.8s on it, I'm going to install those on there right now. So with the trenchers on, I find the truck definitely looks cool. You don't have, without the body on, so with no body, you don't have any clearance issues. The wheels and tires turn no problem. There's no rubbing. You don't have to worry about your steering knuckles or anything like that. Rears are good. They fit no problem, which I'd like to try this out. I'd probably not going to run it with the body when I do, only because, and I'll show you guys in a second, when you put the body on, you're definitely going to get a ton of rubbing. And I'm not sure 100% if I want to trim the body to make these work, because again, I do like the stock tires. So you can tell, guys, right away that as soon as you start jumping this thing, you are just going to destroy the body. I don't know how much you'd have to trim. I don't know if you'd come right up into here. Same with the front. You'd have to take quite a bit of the body off. So you'd really have to want to stick with those wheels and tires if you're going to, start hacking up the body type thing to make them fit. But they do look cool, and I can imagine that they might even be a little bit better for jumping. I'm not sure. There's not really a whole lot more tread there, like sidewall. Well, actually, there's more sidewall with the stock wheel and tire. So who knows what would be the better choice. But I don't know. I've seen a few of these with Badlands on them, the 3.8s, like the original style ones. And they do look pretty good, but what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to take the truck out, and I'm just going to take a few pics with these wheels and tires outside so you guys can get a better look of how she looks. So I do think the truck looks really good with the 3.8s on it. Again, those are the low profile ones, so they're not as big as, something like the new MX-38s or stuff like those type of tires. But, it would be fun if Arrma or a company like Proline released an aftermarket body for this truck. Something, whether it be a truck style body or something like that, just so that if you wanted to run, 3.8s and different, sets of wheels and tires, you could without hacking up the stock body, because this really is a fantastic truck. It's definitely a hype truck. Every time, I see a comment online, every time I see somebody post a picture, it's always super positive. And it lives up to that, guys. There is nothing, besides some, minor things like, the body posts have a tendency to break depending on how you land and stuff like that. But hey, that's, you do get better at driving a truck the more, the longer you have it. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to show you guys some footage from that same day that I was out running. And then we're going to come back and wrap it up and give you my opinion, even though I'm pretty sure you guys already know what it is. All right, guys, this is the part of the video where I'm going to give my opinion on this truck. And a lot of you guys watch these videos because you kind of want to know, do you want to buy this truck or not? You know, does it look fun? What does the guy think? Right now, what is my opinion on this truck? So I'm going to make it really, really simple. Pause the video. Jump in your car. Drive to your hobby store. Buy one. Come back. Charge your batteries. Go run it. Then come back and finish watching the video. Okay, you're back. So you've just found out that you've bought one of the most fun trucks you can buy. This truck, guys, you don't have to change the EAC in the motor right away. You don't have to swap out the servo right away. You don't have to change the wheels and tires right away. Even though it would be nice, Arrma, if you had maybe made these black or chrome even. I'm not a fan of the red or the yellow on the other one, but hey, oh well. You know, right, you haven't had to pull the diffs apart yet and change the fluid. You haven't had to pull the pinion out and swap that out. Right out of the box, this thing is a blast. It is probably the most fun I've had with an RC in a while. You know, you can kind of get confused when you think about past trucks and you know, I love my Crate 8S. Every time I go out with it, it's a blast. But it does lack a little bit in the speed department due to the size. This is not the case. This is a truck that, you know, is a pound heavier than, you know, your average 8 scale, than a Creighton, for example. So it just flies. It's, you know, it will put a smile on your face. You just kind of, you know, so many trucks you can drive like this, okay? You can drive them like that. You can literally be off, on, off, on, off, on. This was not the case. You've got to watch your throttle. You can see a couple of times when I'm kind of ripping up the park there that I'm, you know, I kind of go by, and then it's not until I know that I'm, you know, going straight and I got a good control that I can mash it. this thing is a blast. And guys, I get 0 from Arrma. I get 0 from anybody, to be honest. So I get 0 from Arrma, but I am telling you, you want to buy this truck. You know, it's a couple of more bucks, let's say, than your average 8 scale and stuff like that. But it is super, super fun. You will get it out, you will run it, it'll put a smile on your face, and you will want to keep driving it. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I've enjoyed this truck. I'm going to be doing, guys, more videos with it. I'm going to be doing more comparisons, more side by sides, kind of like what I did with, the Kraton 8S and the X-Max, where you've got body on, wheels and tires, on, wheels and tires off, body off, all that kind of stuff, just so you guys can get a really good idea on the size, compare it to my Kraton 6S, all that kind of stuff. But, believe the hype, I guess is what I can say. Like I mentioned earlier, everywhere you go, there's always positive things to say about the Mojave. You know what? It earned it, and it definitely deserves it. Guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you can. And here's a few dirty pics after the run.